Greetings Warhammer enthusiast. Before you stands a voice assistant of the podcast, dedicated to spreading the greater good. If you find this information useful, please do not hesitate to leave a like and subscribe. Together, we shall explore the depths of the Warhammer universe and share in its wonders.
Sanguinius, also known as the Great Angel, was the Primarch of the Blood Angel Space Marine chapter in the Warhammer 40k universe. Created by the Emperor of Mankind during the Unification Wars on Terra, he was among the 20 genetically engineered sons designed to lead the Emperor's armies in the conquest of the galaxy. Each Primarch was endowed with distinct abilities and strengths, and the leader of the Blood Angels was no exception to this rule. Sanguinius was a magnificent and angelic figure, standing taller than his brother Primarchs. He had fair skin, long golden hair, and large, feathered wings that granted him the gift of flight. He was also known for his extraordinary psychic powers, which included precognition and the ability to sense the emotions of others. These abilities, coupled with his physical prowess, made him one of the most formidable warriors in the Imperium. Sanguinius was renowned for his humility, charisma, and loyalty to the Emperor. His demeanor and appearance were often compared to that of an archangel, as he was an inspirational and compassionate leader. The Great Angel cared deeply for his warriors and the citizens of the Imperium, seeking to protect them from harm and ensure their prosperity. He was also known to be a wise strategist and skilled diplomat, capable of resolving conflicts through diplomacy when possible. The origins of Sanguinius can be traced back to the Emperor's Great Crusade. To lead his space marines in the conquest of the galaxy, the Emperor created 20 superhuman warriors known as the Primarchs. However, the forces of chaos interfered, scattering the infant Primarchs throughout the galaxy. Landing on the radiation-soaked moon of Baal Secundus, Sanguinius was discovered and adopted by a tribe of humans called the Blood, or People of the Pure Blood. His growth and development were exceptional, even among the Primarchs. He quickly surpassed his peers in size, strength, and endurance, demonstrating his superhuman abilities at an early age. Sanguinius was already a formidable warrior before joining the Blood, having slain the dangerous Baalite fire scorpion. Unique among the Primarchs, Sanguinius bore large, angelic wings on his back. The origins of these wings remain uncertain, with some attributing them to the Emperor's design, while others suggest they resulted from exposure to Baal's radiation. He also possessed psychic powers, most notably the ability to foresee future events. Under Sanguinius's leadership, the Blood waged war against the mutant hordes threatening their existence on Baal. His wrath in battle was unparalleled, and his strategic prowess and personal courage earned him the admiration of his people. After leading the Blood to victory, Sanguinius became a revered figure, worshipped as a god by his followers. The Emperor's arrival on Baal marked a turning point. Disguising himself, the Emperor attended a gathering where the Great Angel was delivering a speech to his people. The Primarch's words showcased his humility, courage, and devotion to his followers, impressing the disguised Emperor. Like Conrad Kurz, Sanguinius had foreseen the Emperor's arrival and recognized him immediately. Upon meeting the Emperor, the Great Angel demanded a promise to leave the Baalites in peace. He also questioned the consequences of declining the Emperor's offer, making him unique among the Primarchs. The Emperor reassured Sanguinius that he would not refuse, as his desire to protect the galaxy's people aligned with the Emperor's own goals. Satisfied with the Emperor's response and his promise regarding the Baalites, Sanguinius pledged his loyalty. The Emperor then selected the most skilled warriors from Sanguinius's tribe, and incorporated them into the pre-existing Space Marine Legion. This legion, soon to be known as the Blood Angels, would carry on the legacy of their Primarch, embodying his courage, determination, and unwavering loyalty to the Imperium. Upon being reunited with the Emperor, Sanguinius did not immediately take command of his legion, which would later become the Blood Angels. Instead, he spent 3 years with Horus and his lunar wolves, learning about the Imperium and its ways. During this time, he formed close bonds with Abaddon and Tarik Torgadon, 2 notable members of the Lunar Wolves. Sanguinius finally met his own legion, the then savage Revenant Legion, during the pacification of Tega Penteris. In an unexpected move, Sanguinius took the time to learn the name of each and every one of his warriors before addressing them. This act alone demonstrated his humility and genuine care for his soldiers. In a rousing speech to his assembled sons, Sanguinius broke with tradition by swearing an oath to his legion, rather than expecting them to pledge their loyalty to him. He expressed his hope that he would prove worthy of leading them and promised to stand by their side through both glory and damnation. Sanguinius's heartfelt words and humble approach deeply resonated with his warriors, who enthusiastically pledged themselves to their Primarch in response. He declared that the 9th Legion, once scattered and broken, would be whole again under his leadership. Furthermore, he announced that they would conduct the upcoming campaign without assistance from the Lunar Wolves, relying solely on their own strength and unity. Sanguinius's unconventional approach to leadership, characterized by humility and a genuine connection with his soldiers, helped forge a strong bond between him and his legion. This bond would become a defining feature of the Blood Angels, and set them apart from other legions in their unwavering loyalty and devotion to their Primarch. Sanguinius was highly respected by all the legions and his brother Primarchs. He shared a particularly close bond with Horus, and they were said to be closer than any of the other Primarchs. During the Emperor's Crusade, Sanguinius provided counsel that Horus listened to and valued, especially during the incident with the Interrex, which took place during the War on Murder. Shortly after Horus became War Master, Sanguinius continued to have a significant influence on him, second only to the Emperor. It was Sanguinius who convinced Horus to accept the name change of the Lunar Wolves to the Sons of Horus. In a surprising turn of events, Horus even revealed that he believed Sanguinius should have been proclaimed War Master instead of himself. When Horus thought he was dying on Davin, he pointed to Sanguinius as the new War Master. Sanguinius was a beloved figure revered by the entire Imperium. Robout Guilliman, the Primarch of the Ultramarines, privately referred to Sanguinius as one of the Dauntless Few, the 4 brothers whom Guilliman trusted the most. Despite his seemingly peaceful nature, Sanguinius was known for his martial prowess, and he was considered a match for Horus and Lion El'Jonson in combat ability. Ironically, this belief was reflected later during the Horus Heresy while Horus was plotting the Blood Angels' downfall at Cygnus Prime. Horus deviated from the battle plan laid out by Erebus by insisting that Sanguinius must die. Horus claimed this was because he knew his brother would never turn to chaos. However, the demon Kiris questioned whether Horus was afraid of having a rival, suggesting that if Sanguinius were turned to chaos, he might find greater favor with the chaos gods than Horus himself. Despite the apparent rivalry between Sanguinius and Horus, the two remained close friends. When Horus discovered the genetic flaw of the Blood Angels while on a joint campaign, he chose to keep the secret from the Emperor, further demonstrating the depth of their relationship. Before Horus's treachery was exposed, he sent Sanguinius to the world of Cygnus Prime under the pretense of battling the Xenos known as the Nephilim. However, upon arriving in the Cygnus system, the Blood Angels were ambushed by hordes of demons, leaving them stranded on the cursed planet. At the height of the conflict, Sanguinius confronted Ka'Banda, a greater demon of Khorne. In their initial encounter, the demon managed to wound the Primarch by breaking his legs. Sanguinius then fell into a coma due to a psychic backlash created by the Ragefire, which was amplified by the deaths of his sons at Ka'Banda's hands. In response to their Primarch's injury, the Blood Angels were overtaken by the Red Thirst, a genetic flaw that caused them to slaughter friend and foe alike in their frenzied state. Fortunately, the Legion librarians eventually restored Sanguinius to consciousness. In a second duel, the Primarch defeated Ka Banda, banishing the demon back to the warp. Sanguinius then led his forces to the Chaos Fortress on Cygnus, the Cathedral of the Mark, where he encountered Kiris the Perverse, a keeper of secrets. Kiris presented Sanguinius with a harrowing choice: sacrifice himself to the rage fire and permanently lift the red thirst from his sons, or allow his legion to face eventual destruction, due to their genetic flaw. Resolved to sacrifice himself, Sanguinius was about to step into the rage fire when Apothecary Meros intervened, taking his place and becoming the Red Angel. Grieving for Meros, Sanguinius vanquished Kiris and vowed vengeance on Horus for his deception. This harrowing experience on Cygnus Prime demonstrated Sanguinius's unwavering loyalty to his sons, and the lengths he was willing to go to protect them from the Red Thirst's devastating effects. Recovering from the devastating events on Cygnus Prime but determined to confront Horus, Sanguinius ordered the Blood Angels to set course for Terra. However, due to the Ruin Storm, a malevolent warp storm created by the treacherous Erebus, navigation and communication throughout the Imperium were rendered nearly impossible. Guided by the Pharos psychic beacon, Sanguinius eventually found his way to Macragge, where Robout Guilliman, fearing that Terra had been lost, reluctantly declared Sanguinius the new Emperor-Regent of his contingency empire, Imperium Secundus. Guilliman's decision demonstrated the immense trust and respect he had for his brother Primarch. As Emperor-Regent, Sanguinius was soon plagued by visions of his own death at the hands of Horus. He came to realize that these were not mere omens but glimpses into a potential future. Despite the weight of his new responsibilities and the haunting visions, Sanguinius remained steadfast in his dedication to the Imperium and his desire to defeat Horus. During the Battle of Sota, while Guilliman and Lion Eljonson were both away, Sanguinius was confronted by Conrad Kurz, who had infiltrated his throne room on Macragge and badly wounded Ascalon. Kurz revealed that he had foreseen Sanguinius' death on the Vengeful Spirit, and questioned why the angel still followed the Emperor when their mutual visions had proven his teachings to be lies. Kurz also asked why Sanguinius had rejected Kiris' offer at Cygnus Prime, and if the angel felt he was more deserving of the title of War Master than Horus. Sanguinius responded that he did not consider himself more deserving. Attempting to teach Sanguinius that fate could not be changed and that his own death would not occur there, Kurz allowed Sanguinius to attack him with his sword, goading him to strike him down. Sanguinius ultimately stopped his sword, urging Kurz that it was not too late to change and join his loyalist brothers. Proclaiming that only chaos remained in the end, Kurz set off an explosive trap and escaped. As Lion and Guilliman continued to clash over policy in Imperium Secundus, Sanguinius tried to mediate between the two. Later, he presided over the trial of the now-captured Conrad Kurz. When Lion Eljonson attempted to kill Kurz during the trial, enraged by the Night Haunter's accusations, Sanguinius dismissed him from Imperium Secundus. Eventually, Sanguinius decided to sentence Kurz to death himself, but as he was about to strike down the Primarch, Lion Eljonson reappeared. Demanding to be Kurz's jailer and stating that Kurz could see the future, Lion repeated Kurz's claim that his death would be at the hands of an assassin sent by the Emperor. To Lion, this was proof that the Emperor was still alive. Sanguinius realized that his own visions of death would also come true, and he shared his visions of dying at the hands of Horus with both of his brothers. Following the trial of Kurz, Sanguinius, Lion Eljonson, and Guilliman all agreed to attempt breaching the Ruin Storm in order to reach Terra and aid the Emperor, whom they now knew was still alive. Sanguinius began to suffer from the early stages of the Black Rage, a condition that infected his mind due to the prophetic visions of his own death. In a fit of hysteria, Sanguinius nearly struck down one of his own sons aboard the Red Terra. He was desperate to prevent all of his sons from falling as he was seeking any solution. While navigating the ruined storm, the Loyalist fleet encountered a variety of horrors and heard of an entity spreading destruction known as the Pilgrim. During the Battle of Pyrrhon, Sanguinius received a vision that led him to realize he needed to go to where this struggle had begun, Davin, the world where Horus had fallen. Reluctantly, Guilliman and the Lion agreed to trust Sanguinius, but both initially thought they would simply destroy the world upon arrival. At Davin, the Loyalist fleet found the entire world surrounded by a shell made of the bones of trillions, dubbed the Necrosphere. A bombardment managed to penetrate the sphere, and the fleet soon entered orbit above Davin. In a surprising move, Sanguinius boarded the Invincible Reason and took the captive Conrad Kurz with him, hoping to use Kurz's prophetic abilities to determine what he was meant to do on Davin. However, the Dark Angel's guards did not yield to Sanguinius, forcing him to dispatch several using non-lethal methods. After escaping the Invincible Reason, Sanguinius ordered a mass landing on Davin. The enraged Lion nearly ordered an exterminatus on the planet, regardless of Sanguinius' presence. This tense situation highlighted the complex relationships and emotions experienced by the Primarchs, as they sought to navigate the treacherous ruined storm and ultimately reach Terra to support the Emperor in his time of need. The four Primarchs eventually made their way to the temple where Horus had been subjected to the ritual performed by Erebus and the Serpent Lodge, which had led to his corruption. Inside the temple, Sanguinius stood at the altar where Horus had been laid and proclaimed that he would change his destiny. This declaration activated Davin itself, causing warp storms to rage above, and a portal opened up, swallowing Sanguinius. Inside the portal on Davin, Sanguinius found himself back on Terra in a beautiful garden at the Imperial Palace. For the first time, he was experiencing a vision that did not involve his death aboard the Vengeful Spirit. In this vision, he saw Lorga dead by his hand and the remaining traitor Primarchs brought before him in chains. The Emperor congratulated Sanguinius on his victory and named him the Imperator Regis of the Imperium. With Sanguinius as the Emperor's regent, he went on to lead a grand campaign that purged the Imperium of all corruption and evil, leaving the galaxy under his rule. However, as Sanguinius observed this future and the Emperor's mannerisms, he grew suspicious of what was happening. Eventually, he cut down the image of the Emperor, revealing it to be the demon Medael in disguise. Sanguinius had seen through the deception and managed to resist the temptation that the false future presented, showcasing his unwavering loyalty to the Emperor and his determination to stay true to his purpose. Sanguinius and Medael engaged in a fierce duel, while Medael unleashed a demonic horde through the portal to prevent Guilliman and the Lion from breaking through. The host included a massive soul grinder, which was destroyed through the combined efforts of the Lion and Guilliman. On the other side of the portal, Sanguinius found himself pinned by Medael's demonic forces. The Preacher of Chaos Undivided proclaimed that Sanguinius would either serve or die. Medael labeled Horus as an imperfect vessel and urged Sanguinius to strike him down and assume the mantle of Warmaster of Chaos. In exchange, Medael promised that Sanguinius' sons would be spared from the Black Rage. Despite the temptation, Sanguinius refused the demon's offer and broke free from his captors. He and Medael once again engaged in a duel, this time with Sanguinius impaling the demon with both the blade in Carmine and the spear of Telesto. The two wounded warriors struggled against each other until they were both caught in the portal, torn between the Materium and Immaterium. On Davin, Guilliman and the Lion saw Sanguinius' upper half protruding from the portal and rushed to help him, but they were blocked by demons. The stalemate continued until Sanguinius' herald stepped forward, offering to take the angel's place in the portal. Realizing that this was his herald's destiny and that he needed to confront Horus at Terra for the Imperium to survive, Sanguinius solemnly agreed. The Sanguiner charged into Medael, and as he tackled the demon back through the portal, he transformed into a golden, angelic form. The Primarchs and their escorts managed to escape the temple just as it collapsed, allowing them to continue their pursuit of Horus and their fight for the future of the Imperium. In the place where Davin once was, a breach in the ruined storm became visible. The path led to Terra, but upon further investigation, it became apparent that Horus had somehow foreseen this route and erected a large blockade to hinder their progress. Guilliman and the Lion agreed to distract the blockade while Sanguinius and the Blood Angels headed directly for Terra, as that was their destiny. Sanguinius took Kurz with him, stating that he would face their father's justice. However, once aboard the Red Tear, Sanguinius revealed that he would allow Kurz to follow his destiny as well, death at the hands of an Imperial assassin. Sanguinius stated that, although it might take millennia for him to be found, Kurz's fate would eventually catch up with him. With that, he sealed Kurz in a stasis coffin and jettisoned the frozen Primarch into space as the Night Haunter roared in rage. By sending Kurz into the void, Sanguinius demonstrated his belief in the inevitability of his brother's fate while focusing on his own mission to reach Terra and confront Horus. This act allowed Sanguinius and the Blood Angels to continue their journey without the burden of their treacherous brother, enabling them to concentrate on the critical task at hand, the defense of the Imperium and their father, the Emperor. The delaying tactics of Guilliman and the Lion enabled Sanguinius and the Blood Angels to reach Terra. Upon arrival, he met with Rogel Dorn, Layman Russ, Jagatai Khan, and Malkador the Sigillite to discuss their strategy for the upcoming battle. Sanguinius urged Russ to remain on Terra for the confrontation rather than leaving to face Horus directly. His plea held less weight than Dorn's, but it was still an important factor in their decision-making process. Sanguinius' arrival on Terra was widely publicized by loyalist media. His angelic figure was used as propaganda to boost the morale of the struggling Imperial war effort. His presence inspired hope and determination in the hearts of the defenders, who saw in him the embodiment of the Emperor's will and an example of courage and selflessness. As the defenders of Terra prepared for the inevitable conflict, Sanguinius played a crucial role in shaping their battle plans and coordinating the efforts of the loyalist forces. His insights and experience, combined with his strong relationships with his brother Primarchs, were instrumental in forging a united front against the traitorous forces of Horus. As the battle for Terra raged, Sanguinius would continue to be a beacon of hope for the Imperium, displaying his courage, loyalty, and devotion to the Emperor's cause. His actions and sacrifices would leave a lasting impact on the defenders and the future of the Imperium. Sanguinius, along with Jagatai Khan, arrived at the Battle of Betagarman, albeit more than a month late due to difficult warp travel. Upon arrival, Sanguinius immediately took control of the disorganized loyalist war effort and launched a major offensive towards Betagarman II. The battle saw over 1,000 Titans clash against one another, and during the fierce combat, Sanguinius and his sanguinary guard boarded the traitor Imperator Titan Axis Mundi, ultimately destroying it from the inside. However, the entire battle on Betagarman II was a clever ploy by Horus, who had set his sights on Betagarman III. The loyalist forces on Betagarman II were largely obliterated in a shower of orbital debris caused by the detonation of the starfort the Anvil. In the aftermath of this disaster, Sanguinius and the Khan agreed that Dorn's strategy at Betagarman had reached its limit and that it was time to return to Terra. During the final phase of the Solar War, Sanguinius appeared in Dorn's Bab Bastion alongside Jagatai Khan and Malkador. He expressed his belief that Dorn's defensive efforts in the Sol system were ultimately futile, as the decisive battle would take place on Terra, and he was destined to face Horus. Despite being forbidden by Rogel Dorn to fly openly or leave the palace walls, Sanguinius occasionally violated these orders. In the early stages of the siege, he led a sortie beyond the walls to rescue Jagatai Khan from swarms of Death Guard, and inspire the beleaguered conscripts manning the outer defenses around the palace. Later, during the first traitor Astartes assault upon the walls of the palace, Sanguinius led a counterattack composed of Blood Angels, Imperial Fists, and Legio Salaria forces out of the Aelios Gate. This action allowed time for the Imperial army troops outside to retreat within the palace. During this battle, Sanguinius confronted Angron, who roared a challenge at him. Sanguinius, however, refused the challenge, saluting his brother and declaring that their eventual battle would not take place that day. Subsequently, Sanguinius was put in charge of the defences of Gorgon Bar, where he fought alongside Imperial Fists Captain Fafnir Ran and large contingents of the Imperial army. During the battle, Sanguinius discovered that his visions had expanded to include real-time visions of what some of his brother Primarchs were currently experiencing. He saw the siege through Angron's own eyes. Sanguinius' remarkable feats during the battle included felling a Legio Vulpa warlord titan by assaulting its head. This act was so impressive that 3 accompanying Warhound titans fled at the sight of him. Sanguinius' inspiring presence ensured that Gorgon Bar held, even under a massive Iron Warrior's assault. After the battle, Sanguinius informed Dawn of a vision he had of Angron sensing the destruction of Nuceria by the Dark Angels, indicating that the lion was still alive. During the final stages of the Siege of Terra, Sanguinius played a crucial role in leading the defense of the Eternity Gate, the entrance to the Sanctum Imperialis itself. Prior to the desperate battle, Sanguinius gave any of the defenders who wished to leave the option to do so. However, none chose to abandon their posts. Sanguinius then took to the skies, and demonstrated his extraordinary combat abilities by beheading the traitor Reva Titan Daughter of Torment, which had earlier delivered Horus terms to the defenders after revealing the tortured form of Blood Angel's Captain Ida Mars. In the subsequent battle, Sanguinius heroically led the defense, slaying traitors wherever they appeared. He was eventually confronted by the bloodthirster Caebanda, the same demon he had fought at Cygnus. In an epic display of strength and determination, Sanguinius managed to break the creature's back using the hilt of his sword. This devastating blow forced Caebanda back to the earth, where it was consumed by lesser demons of its kind. In the midst of the Siege of Terra, Sanguinius, despite his weakened state from his fight with the bloodthirster Caebanda, found himself facing his demonic brother Angron in a titanic battle. As the 2 powerful Primarchs took to the skies, they clashed with immense ferocity, demonstrating their unwavering resolve and skill. Throughout the aerial combat, Angron and Sanguinius exchanged blow after blow, each attempting to gain the upper hand. Finally, Angron managed to impale Sanguinius on his infamous black blade. For a moment, it seemed that Sanguinius might falter, but the indomitable Primarch of the Blood Angels refused to give in. Seizing the opportunity, Sanguinius used his remaining strength to rip the butcher's nails from Angron's brain. These devices, responsible for fueling Angron's insatiable bloodlust and rage, were torn free, causing Angron's head to explode violently. This action banished the demon Primarch back into the warp, effectively removing him from the battle. In the aftermath of Angron's defeat, the World Eaters, who had been barely holding on to their sanity, finally succumbed to madness. They turned on their own allies, creating chaos and disorder within the traitor forces. This unforeseen event disrupted the traitor advance, stopping them just short of the Eternity Gate. As the Loyalist defenders retreated inside the gate, it sealed shut behind them, providing a temporary respite from the relentless onslaught of the traitor forces. Sanguinius' unwavering determination and courage in the face of overwhelming adversity played a crucial role in this pivotal moment during the Battle of Terra. His actions not only halted the traitor forces' advance but also inspired his fellow loyalists to continue their fight to defend the Imperium. Only a few hours after the Eternity Gate was sealed, a weakened and still bleeding Sanguinius received a summons from the Emperor himself. He was called to the Golden Throne, where he learned that Horus had lowered the void shields of his flagship, the Vengeful Spirit. the Emperor revealed his intention to launch a teleportation assault aboard the vessel in a daring attempt to end the conflict. Much to Sanguinius' dismay, the Emperor informed him that he would not be joining the assault. Instead, he would remain behind to command the remaining loyalist forces on Terra. Sanguinius was deeply troubled by this decision, and he resolved to confront the Emperor about his role in the upcoming battle. As the Emperor prepared for battle, fitting himself with his armor, Sanguinius approached him. He refused to accept the decision to stay behind and demanded to be part of the assault. The Emperor remained unmoved by Sanguinius' pleas until the Primarch finally revealed the prophetic visions he had been experiencing, visions of his own death at the hands of Horus. Much to the Emperor's surprise, Sanguinius declared that he did not seek death at the hands of his traitorous brother. Instead, he aimed to challenge his fate head-on and attempt to change the course of events. This admission resonated with the Emperor, who had spent many lifetimes trying to defy fate in a similar manner. Ultimately, Sanguinius' determination and courage persuaded the Emperor to change his mind. He allowed the Blood Angel's Primarch to participate in the assault on the vengeful spirit, recognizing the importance of facing destiny head-on. Together, they prepared to confront Horus in a desperate attempt to bring an end to the devastating civil war that had engulfed the Imperium. Upon teleporting aboard the vengeful spirit, Sanguinius, the Sanguinary Guard, and a group of veterans led by Raldran found themselves scattered throughout the massive vessel, along with other Imperial forces. Despite the chaotic nature of their arrival, Sanguinius and his Blood Angels were the only boarding party to initially reach their intended target, Disembarkation Deck 2. As they made their way through the enormous warship, they were met with fierce resistance from the sons of Horus, word-bearers, and hordes of demons that infested the vessel. Sanguinius, leading his warriors with steadfast determination, fought valiantly to carve a path through the enemy forces. With each step, the Blood Angels faced greater and more relentless opposition from the traitor forces, who were committed to defending their war master and ensuring his dark plans came to fruition. Undeterred by the overwhelming odds, Sanguinius and his forces pressed on, making their way through the twisted corridors and blood-soaked decks of the vengeful spirit. Every inch of progress was hard-fought and bought with the blood of loyalist warriors. As they fought, Sanguinius was ever mindful of the visions he had seen and the fate that he was trying to change. Each enemy slain was one step closer to confronting Horus and determining the ultimate outcome of the conflict that had engulfed the galaxy. In the face of overwhelming adversity, Sanguinius and his Blood Angels continued their desperate battle through the vengeful spirit, determined to reach their ultimate goal and stand beside the Emperor in the decisive confrontation against Horus and his traitorous forces. Sanguinius, in his search for Horus aboard the vengeful spirit, was the first to discover his corrupted brother. Despite being deep within the heart of the chaos-fueled and mutated battle barge, Sanguinius held on to hope that he could revert Horus back to the side of the Emperor. Drawing upon their once strong bond of brotherhood and friendship, Sanguinius attempted to persuade Horus to abandon his path of heresy and destruction. As the two Primarchs engaged in a heated exchange, each tried to sway the other to their respective side of the conflict. Sanguinius passionately reminded Horus of their shared loyalty to the Emperor and the ideals they once fought for together. He spoke of the bonds between the Primarchs and the Imperium, and the promise of a united and prosperous future for humanity. Horus, however, had become deeply entrenched in his allegiance to the powers of chaos. He rejected Sanguinius' pleas and countered with his own arguments, attempting to convince Sanguinius to join the rebellion against the Emperor. Horus spoke of the perceived betrayal and abandonment by their father, and the promise of untold power and freedom offered by the Chaos Gods. Despite their intense and emotional debate, neither Primarch was able to sway the other. Sanguinius remained steadfast in his loyalty to the Emperor, while Horus' corruption had become too deeply ingrained for him to consider turning back. The encounter between the two brothers served as a stark reminder of the tragic rift that had formed between the once close siblings, and the devastating consequences of the Horus Heresy. Ultimately, their attempts at persuasion failed, and the stage was set for a fateful confrontation that would determine the future of the Imperium and seal the fate of both Primarchs. Despite the angelic Primarch's unparalleled skill and determination, the raw power of chaos coursed through Horus, making him a nearly unstoppable force. Sanguinius, already weary from previous battles and weakened by his injuries, struggled to keep up with his corrupted brother's might. Even in the face of such overwhelming odds, Sanguinius refused to yield. The Primarch of the Blood Angels fought with all his heart and soul, striving to protect the Imperium and his father's dream of a united galaxy. The battle raged on, each blow from Horus threatening to shatter Sanguinius' defenses completely. In the end, however, Sanguinius was struck down by Horus. The noble Primarch's efforts, while valiant, were not enough to overcome the terrible power of chaos that now controlled his brother. In his final moments, Sanguinius managed to inflict a small dent in Horus' armor, a seemingly insignificant act in the grand scheme of things, but one that would ultimately prove to have far-reaching consequences. This dent, a symbol of Sanguinius' unwavering defiance in the face of darkness, would later serve as a guiding light for the Emperor during his own confrontation with Horus. As the master of mankind faced his wayward son, he would draw strength and resolve from the memory of Sanguinius' sacrifice. This, in turn, would lead the Emperor to strike the decisive blow that would end the Horus Heresy and mark the beginning of a new era for the Imperium. After the tragic and heroic death of Sanguinius at the hands of his brother Horus, his body was recovered by the retreating Imperial forces. They knew that the revered Primarch of the Blood Angels deserved a proper and honorable resting place, and so they decided to transport his remains back to his home planet of Baal. Baal is the homeworld of the Blood Angels, and Sanguinius held a deep connection with the people and the world itself. It was deemed the most fitting place to lay him to rest, so that his memory would forever be enshrined in the hearts of his sons and the people of Baal. Sanguinius's body was placed in the golden sarcophagus, a magnificent and ornate vessel designed to protect and honor the fallen Primarch. This sarcophagus was then taken to a vast tomb, a monument built to commemorate the life and sacrifice of Sanguinius. The tomb was an architectural marvel, adorned with countless artworks and sculptures that told the story of the Blood Angels Primarch and his many deeds. The entrance to the tomb was guarded by massive angel effigies, symbolizing Sanguinius's celestial nature and his role as a guardian and protector of the Imperium. These statues, crafted with great skill and artistry, served as a testament to the undying respect and admiration for the fallen Primarch. The tomb became a sacred place for the Blood Angels and the people of Baal. Pilgrimages were made by countless individuals, both Astartes and mortals alike, who wished to pay their respects to the beloved Primarch. Even millennia after his death, Sanguinius's memory remains etched in the hearts and minds of his sons and the people of the Imperium, serving as a reminder of the ultimate sacrifice made in the name of humanity. Temples dedicated to Sanguinius can be found across the Imperium, standing alongside those devoted to the Emperor himself. These temples are often magnificent structures adorned with statues, artwork, and other symbols that represent the heroic deeds and sacrifices of the beloved Primarch. One of the most significant commemorations of Sanguinius is the Sanguinala, a sacred day of celebration observed throughout the galaxy. On this day, adepts and citizens alike wear red badges on their chests as a symbol of their devotion to Sanguinius. This widespread act of remembrance serves to strengthen the bond between the Imperium's people and the memory of their fallen hero. In a mysterious encounter within the warp, an apparent avatar of Sanguinius appeared before Mephiston, the chief librarian of the Blood Angels. This being revealed the truth about the Gold Angel and the Black Angel, two aspects of Sanguinius's essence. The being, however, made it clear that they were not Sanguinius himself, as the Primarch was dead. Despite this clarification, both Mephiston and Dante, the chapter master of the Blood Angels, suspect that a psychic echo of Sanguinius might still persist within the Imperium. This intriguing possibility suggests that the spirit of the revered Primarch could continue to influence the Blood Angels, and the Imperium as a whole, even long after his death. In conclusion, Sanguinius remains a powerful symbol of heroism, sacrifice, and devotion within the Imperium. His memory is honored through temples, the celebration of the Sanguinala, and the continued vigilance of his sons, the Blood Angels. The potential existence of a psychic echo of Sanguinius in the Imperium adds another layer of mystery and fascination to the enduring legacy of this beloved Primarch.